So here's a classic example of why you can't allow yourself to get really fidgety over every painstaking little detail when it comes to a project. I'm trying to install this tile floor now, right? And what I got going on is nothing here is actually perfectly square, right? And we want the tiles to be going this way because that's the long way of the room. If they go the other way, they're going to look weird. So they're going this way. That's one detail down. And now this is not square with this wall. And this tub, it's got this like convex rounded kind of thing going on here. Obviously not as exaggerated as I'm showing you. And so what's that what that is causing is, as you can see, let me show you on the level. So we got a little gappage there, right? It's touching, and then it starts to gap out again, right? Because right now I have all these tiles set up against this tub so that they are basically all the exact same distance from that tub, right? I just pulled these spacers out, and those spacers were holding it in place. And so now, before I actually mix up my mortar and start setting these tiles, right, I just want to make sure everything's going to look good from this side and this side, because that's the sides you're going to be seeing. Actually, hold on. I didn't like the way that worked out the first time. I noticed a mistake. So I reset everything and put my longer level down. All right, and so we got this larger gap over here to a smaller gap over here. And what you see going on with this level here is we got a little bit of gappage there when it's touching this tile here, a little bit of gappage there, again when it's touching here in the middle. So again, I'm going to try and squish that in while holding my camera and see what happens here to straighten these tiles out with all those spacers in place. Okay, very slow procedure. All right, so now I'm touching over there, touching in the middle, and I'm touching over here, but I still got a larger gappage there. My gappage is smaller here, but there's actually some more gappage there now. Still very small gappage there. I don't think there's anything I'm going to be able to do about that, but my goal is to at least get this down to about the size of that spacer there. So, put my foot against that side of the level and push that in until we touch there. What result does that give us? Okay, we got gappage over there now. Let me see what I could do to get rid of the gappage here. Pull these tiles out. Come on, out you come. Oh, too far. Go figure. Back in you go. Oh, you don't have spacers. Why are you missing spacers? Spacer there, and a spacer there. Now, obviously, I'm going to have to do this exact same thing again when it actually comes time to mortar and lay the tiles. But in order to make sure I get all my cuts and make sure everything's going to work out, I want to do this right now beforehand. Yes, I do. But what I don't want to do is cut this tile on a slight angle in order to get my even gappage all the way across here with these two things being at a square. So I either don't want to cut here or I don't want to cut there. It looks like I'm going to have to cut one or the other no matter what I do. But just out of curiosity, before I continue, let's try pulling this tile out and get my straight line going this way a little bit. Okay, now I'm putting more tiles up here as baseboards, so that gappage is going to get covered no matter what. So we're golden there. All right, let's get this away from there. Okay. All right. Now, and now we're bowed again. So a little bit further. So, bring that out more. Bring that out more. Okay. But we still got that, which might just be that this tile's not manufactured properly. It might just be a little bit thinner than the rest, and it kind of looks like it if you look in here. And it could also be the uneven ground it's sitting on. Now I could make that gap just slightly larger. That's okay. All right, now I got good gappage along here. And then this is pretty straight, right to there. Yeah, okay. Okay. You know, I think I'm pretty happy with that. Let me just, for the sake of it, get this level out of here. Get another tile. And there's supposed to be a cut one here, but for the sake of it, I just want to see what's going to happen. I think that's going to work. I think that actually squared it out with the door. In fact, let me check that. All right, so we got it lined up to this guy. And what happens when you slide it over? Hey, look at that. It squared it right up with the doorway. So that's what we want to do. All right, we're going to have a little bit of a tapering right there, which is still wide enough for our grout, still wide enough for our grout caulk to make up for that difference visibly. And we got our nice straight line. So I think that's the way to go. Okay, now you see what I'm doing here? Now if I was laying these tiles down with mortar, that would be called a rookie mistake, because I'd be tiling myself into a corner and not leaving myself an escape. So why am I doing this? All right, so obviously when I do start tiling with mortar, I want to start in this corner over here and then work my way this way. But I needed to make sure that everything was going to line up properly there and line up properly there. So I had to start by laying my tile this way. And now what I'm going to do is, as I come across here, I'm going to cut the tiles that I need to cut for these last remaining pieces over here and over here and over here and under here. And as I go, right, because I need to be able to walk through here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these tiles, these rows of tiles away, because they're done. I have all those cuts, right? And that'll give me a space to walk through there so that I can continue laying my tiles this way and finish all the cuts that I need to make, knowing that everything's going to fit all hunky-dory, right? And I'm going to number these tiles, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, or whatever, right? So that I can make sure that each and every one of these tiles is going right where they were before, right? Because remember, some of these tiles all have different minor imperfections, and if those minor imperfections don't go back in like exactly like they were before, then my cut pieces might screw things up by the time I get back to there and try to finish up. And in truth, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to start with these first two layers or rows of tile, and then I'm going to come around this way and go, and that's how I'm actually going to do it. That way I know I've got started correctly over here, so I know it's going to continue correctly this way, and then it's going to continue correctly this way, and then I know for a fact that everything's going to line up perfectly full and fine when I get to the final end.